Ever get that feeling like you're just kind of scratching the surface of what your brain can really do?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you know.
Like you've got this
It's a computer in your head, but you're
powerful.
Yeah, and you only know how to
You're only using it for like basic
play solitaire on it.
web browsing.
Yeah, exactly. So today we are diving deep into this whole world of human potential, right? Like how to actually unlock the full power of our minds using like a blend of ancient wisdom and all this cutting edge neuroscience stuff.
It's a really fascinating combo.
It is. It is. And we've got two incredible podcasts that we're going to be pulling from that are just packed with insights from neuroscientists, philosophers,
people who are like really into
cognitive enhancement.
Cognitive enhancement.
Experts. Yeah.
What I think is so interesting is how all these different perspectives really converge on this idea that we are capable of so much more than we even realize.
Right. And before we even jump into like unlocking all that potential,
yeah,
I think we have to tackle this this myth.
Oh, yeah.
About only using 10% of our brains.
This comes up.
This comes up everywhere.
All the time.
I think we've all...
I feel like it's almost like a cultural...
It's like a cultural meme or something.
Yeah, it is.
But both of our sources are like, no, this is just not true.
Totally debunked.
Yeah. It's totally...
The brain imaging study showed that even when we're doing simple tasks, we're engaging multiple regions of the brain.
Right.
It's not like you only use 10% of your car because you're not always driving it at top speed.
Exactly. Yeah. You're using the whole car, but...
You're using the whole thing, but...
You're not always, like...
redlining it.
Redlining it all the time, yeah. So the brain is always active, but how do we actually get it to perform?
Okay, so that's...
At its peak.
That's where neuroplasticity comes in.
Yes.
And it's so cool.
Neuroplasticity. I love this concept.
It's amazing.
It's basically the brain's ability to just, like... change and adapt
throughout our whole lives.
Throughout our lives, yeah.
Yeah.
And that means that our cognitive abilities aren't just like fixed.
Yeah.
Right? This is like revolutionary to me. I remember years ago trying to learn a new language and I was just like, I'm so bad at this.
Yeah, you just hit a wall.
I just hit a wall. But now to know that my brain can actually like change and adapt to these new challenges is like so motivating.
That's the best part. It's like it totally shifts your perspective.
It does.
From this fixed mindset to...
like growth.
Growth and possibility. And this leads to another connection.
Yes.
That our sources make, which is really cool. Bridging ancient wisdom with modern neuroscience.
I was so intrigued by this whole like connection to eudaimonia, which is this Greek concept that essentially means
human flourishing.
Human flourishing.
Which we all want, right?
Right. It's not just about being happy though, right?
No, it's much deeper.
It's much deeper.
It's more about living.
It's about living in accordance with our nature.
Yes.
Realizing our full potential.
And our sources connect this to our brains and how aligning our actions, our thoughts,
our purpose.
And our purpose can actually make our cognitive function better.
So it's like these ancient philosophers were onto something.
They were way ahead of their time.
That like a neuroscientists are now like starting to understand.
Yeah.
It's like they were intuitively tapping into this whole concept of neuroplasticity and how our purpose can actually like shape our brains.
Totally. They knew that we thrived when we were challenged and when we were doing things that were in line with our values.
I love that.
And they even had a word for this.
They did.
Mental excellence.
Sophrosine.
Okay, I got to know more about this. What does sophrosine mean?
It's basically like balance, moderation, and a harmonious integration of like all parts of ourselves.
So it's not about like suppressing our desires.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
But it's more about like channeling them in a way that leads to like personal fulfillment, but also social good.
Yeah, it's like finding that sweet spot between indulging in your passions.
Yes.
But also having self-control.
Self-control. I feel like this would take a lot of effort and practice.
They did emphasize training the mind.
Yeah.
Just like training the body.
Okay, so this is like ancient wisdom.
Yeah.
What about like modern neuroscience? Does that back this up at all?
It totally does.
Yeah.
Practices like mindfulness and meditation can actually strengthen areas of the brain associated with self-regulation and focus.
So fascinating how they're kind of...
They go hand in hand.
Yeah, they go hand in hand. Okay, so we've got this like incredible potential.
We do.
And we've got this like roadmap from the Greeks on how to cultivate...
Yeah, like how to...
mental excellence.
Level up.
But where do we actually begin? Like what are some practical steps that we can take.
Tangible.
Yeah, tangible steps.
Both of our sources give a bunch of really cool strategies. And what's interesting is the overlap between physical, mental, and philosophical approaches.
It's like a holistic approach. We can't just like neglect our bodies and expect our brains
It's all connected.
to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's all connected.
And that brings us to physical exercise.
Yes.
Both sources talk about how important regular cardiovascular activity is.
To make sense.
For blood flow.
I always feel like more alert after a good workout.
Yeah.
I mean,
totally.
but sometimes it's hard just to like
Get started.
Yeah.
You don't have to be a gym rat.
No.
It can be brisk walking, dancing, gardening.
Yeah.
Just find something you enjoy.
Enjoy and make it a regular
part of your routine.
Now your routine.
Like just make it sustainable.
Sustainable. I love that. Okay, so we've got exercise covered.
Okay.
What else is like really
Sleep. Sleep.
Both sources emphasize this over and over. Quality sleep is essential. Okay, I'm all about a good night's sleep.
Yeah.
But with like our busy schedules and all the distractions.
Technology, yeah.
It's hard.
It is hard. So what do they recommend?
Consistent sleep schedule.
Okay.
Relaxing bedtime routine.
Okay.
And minimizing blue light before bed.
Okay, those are great practical tips.
Yeah.
But let's be real. Sometimes life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, work deadlines, family obligations.
Late night Netflix binges.
Late night Netflix.
Yeah.
So what are some of the consequences?
Oh, man.
When we don't get enough sleep, like why should we be taking this seriously?
It impacts both our mental and physical health.
Okay.
Makes it harder to focus, learn, make decisions.
Yeah.
And it increases our risk of serious health problems.
Okay, so that's like a good reminder to prioritize sleep.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got physical exercise, we've got sleep.
The foundation.
Yeah, like foundational pillars for mental clarity.
Okay, so what about
mental exercises?
Yeah, like active stimulating the brain. What do they recommend?
Challenging your brain.
Okay.
With new experiences, learning a new language.
Okay.
Picking up an instrument, dance class, new recipe.
It's like keeping our brain like flexible and adaptable.
Like a muscle.
Like a muscle, yeah.
Right.
I recently started learning to play the ukulele, and even though it's been like challenging, it's been so rewarding to feel my brain make connections.
Yeah, new connections.
That's awesome. And that brings up a point that Dr. Rodriguez makes. She suggests combining physical and mental activities.
Okay, so like listening to a language learning podcast while going on a walk.
Exactly.
Okay.
It creates like a more immersive learning experience and can enhance memory retention.
Oh, wow.
And cognitive flexibility.
That's brilliant. Okay. So we've covered these powerful strategies for boosting our brain power.
But I'm curious about those times when we just feel mentally foggy.
Yeah.
Or we struggle to focus.
Oh, we've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there. It's like having a mental traffic jam.
It's the worst.
Yeah. So what causes that? And what can we do about it?
It can be caused by a bunch of things.
Okay.
Stress, lack of sleep.
Okay.
Poor diet.
Yeah.
Even medical conditions.
So it's like our brain's sending us a signal that something's off. Yeah. And it sounds like those foundational practices we talked about.
So important.
Like the exercise, the sleep, the healthy eating.
Fundamental.
Are like even more
for combating mental fog.
Yeah, combating mental fog.
But it's not just the physical stuff.
Right.
You got to address the emotional and psychological factors too.
Okay, so things like stress, anxiety, even lack of purpose.
And all
can affect our mental clarity.
Absolutely.
It's amazing how interconnected all this is.
It really is.
Yeah.
And this is where purpose comes back in.
Yes.
Both sources talk about how powerful purpose is in having a clear mind and good cognitive function.
What do they mean by that? Is it just about like having goals?
It's deeper than that.
Okay.
It's about having a why.
Okay.
Behind your actions.
Okay.
Meaning.
Okay.
It actually makes your brain work better.
So it's not about willpower.
No.
It's not about forcing ourselves to concentrate.
It's about finding something.
It's about finding something that like...
that fuels you.
Fuels us, yeah, that we're passionate about. I've totally experienced this, you know, when I'm working on something that I really care about.
Yeah.
I'm just naturally more focused.
More energized.
More energized, yeah.
Dr. Rodriguez calls this a cognitive ecosystem.
I love that term.
She says when we have a strong sense of purpose, it drives our attention, which fuels learning.
Yes.
Which reinforces our purpose.
So it's like this positive feedback loop.
It is.
That enhances our like overall
all your cognitive functions.
Functioning, yeah. Finding our purpose is like the fertile ground for our minds to just like flourish.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, before we move on to the whole tech stuff,
Okay.
I am curious about this. If purpose is so crucial
Yeah.
for mental clarity,
Yeah.
how do we even like begin to discover or define it?
It's a big question.
It is a big question.
A key takeaway is to just start paying attention to what gives you energy.
Okay.
What makes you feel really engaged and alive?
Okay.
What are you passionate about?
What are you passionate about? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. It's about noticing those moments when we're just like in the flow.
Exactly. And sometimes discovering your purpose is not like a huge revelation.
Right.
It's more gradual.
Yeah.
It's like an unfolding.
It's like a journey.
It's a journey.
Okay, so now let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Oh, yeah.
Technology. It's pretty much unavoidable these days.
I know.
But what impact does it have
Yeah.
on our mental clarity?
That's a complex one.
It is a complex one.
Both sources say that technology can be good and bad for our minds.
Yeah, so it's like a
It's like a double-edged sword.
double-edged sword.
On one hand, you've got all these incredible resources,
Yeah.
information at your fingertips.
Yeah.
But on the other hand,
Yeah.
constant distractions,
Yeah.
information overload.
Yeah.
Social media can just like
Yeah.
totally fragment your attention,
Yeah.
increase stress.
Right, and
Yeah.
make us compare ourselves to others, which,
Yeah, it's not a
no,
goal.
not a good recipe.
So we have access to all this information,
We do.
but we also have to be mindful of how we're using it.
I'm gonna be mindful.
Yeah. Dr. Patel talks about,
Oh, he's got a great phrase for this.
who is it?
Digital wisdom.
Digital wisdom. I love that. So it's about being intentional with technology.
Yeah,
It's about using it to like serve our goals and values
totally.
instead of becoming like
Slaves to our phones.
slaves to our phones.
Yeah.
So how do we actually cultivate digital wisdom? It's about setting boundaries,
Okay.
creating tech-free zones,
Tech freeze.
scheduling time for
okay.
email and social media,
Okay.
and being really intentional about the content you're consuming.
Okay, those are great practical tips. So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
From brain function to the impact of purpose
Yeah.
to
The
navigating,
digital world.
the digital landscape.
Mm.
So what are some key takeaways? What do you want our listener to walk away with?
I think the biggest one is that mental clarity is not about just like thinking harder.
Right.
It's about working smarter.
Okay.
It's about optimizing your cognitive ecosystem.
Optimize. Yeah. It's holistic, right?
It is. It's
Yeah.
not just about,
Not just brain exercises.
Yeah.
It's about your whole life.
your whole lifestyle.
And also, don't forget about neuroplasticity.
Yes, neuroplasticity.
Your brain can grow and adapt.
Yeah.
You have the power to shape
We have the power.
your own brain.
That's so empowering.
It is.
It's not about being stuck. No, you're not.
With the brain we're born with. It's about cultivating it.
It's about cultivating it.
Okay, so what about finding our purpose?
Yeah,
Because that's come up
it's so important.
a lot.
It's not just some abstract thing.
Yeah.
It can actually enhance your cognitive function.
So purpose fuels attention.
Yes.
Attention fuels learning.
Yes.
And learning reinforces
It's a purpose.
purpose. It's like a beautiful cycle.
Yeah.
So where do we go from here? What are some practical steps?
Both sources offer a ton of great strategies.
Okay.
But a great place to start
Yeah.
is those foundational things we talked about.
Okay.
Prioritizing sleep,
Sleep.
exercise, healthy food,
Okay, so those are the cornerstones.
the cornerstones of a healthy
Yeah.
cognitive ecosystem.
Cognitive ecosystem. I love it.
From there, you can add more challenging things,
Yeah.
like learning a new skill,
Okay.
meaningful conversations,
Okay.
spending time in nature.
So find what resonates with you.
Exactly. Be curious.
Curious.
Play.
It sounds like it's a journey.
It is.
It's a continuous journey of like,
Of discovery.
yeah, discovery and growth.
Exactly.
Wow, so much great information to digest. But don't worry, listener, we'll be back in part 2 to explore even more strategies and insights for unlocking your mental potential.
We will. We'll give you some really great practical tips.
Yeah, until then, be sure to check out the show notes for links to the podcasts we discussed today.
Yeah, check those out.
And most importantly, start paying attention to your own cognitive ecosystem.
Yeah, what step can you take today?
Yeah, what small step can you take today to cultivate a more mentally stimulating and purposeful life?
Love it. Stay curious.
Stay curious and keep exploring
Keep exploring.
the incredible potential of your mind.
Your mind is powerful.